May no one ever face such a brutal death again. But for her, it was already too late. A young English teacher vanished in the heart of Tokyo. Days later, her lifeless body was discovered buried in a bathtub filled with sand on the balcony of her own student's apartment. At the center of it all, a man with a chilling stare and a haunting past, Tatsuya Ichihashi. Lindsay Ann Hawker was 22 years old, a bright, kind-hearted woman from England who dreamed of exploring the world, helping others, and embracing new cultures. Like many young graduates, she took a chance to teach English in Japan, a country she admired deeply for its culture, art, and discipline. But on March 25, 2007, Lindsay went missing. 5 days later, her body was found brutally murdered and hidden in a bathtub on a Tokyo apartment balcony, partially buried in sand. The suspect, Tatsuya Ichihashi, would evade capture for more than 2 years, despite police encountering him the very night her body was discovered. This is a story of shattered trust, obsession turned deadly, and a manhunt that gripped 2 nations. Born on December 30th, 1984, in Coventry, England, Lindsay was the eldest of 3 daughters in a loving family. She was known for her bright smile, gentle nature, and an insatiable curiosity about the world. She excelled academically, especially in biology, and was an active participant in sports and community events during her school years. After graduating from the University of Leeds with a biology degree, Lindsay sought adventure and meaning beyond the classroom. Choosing to teach English in Japan was both a career move and a personal journey, a chance to immerse herself in a culture she deeply respected. Lindsay was fascinated by Japanese traditions, the harmony between ancient customs and modern innovation, and was eager to build connections across cultures. Her personal diary entries reveal a young woman full of hope and excitement, but also moments of loneliness and the challenges of adapting to a foreign culture, language barriers, and the pressure of living far from home. Her roommates remembered her as kind and responsible. She often invited friends over for meals and was always the first to volunteer to help others. But Lindsay's kindness and trusting nature would tragically be exploited. Tatsuya Ichihashi was 28 years old in 2007. Born to a doctor father and dentist mother, he had every advantage. Yet he was described as a loner. Neighbors described him as odd and sometimes unsettling. His obsession with bodybuilding was intense. He spent hours sculpting his body, perhaps seeking control where his social life faltered. Ichihashi's dark fixation on foreign women, particularly Western English teachers, was well known in his circle. Psychologists later analyzed Ichihashi as someone struggling with deep insecurities, powerlessness, and a desire to dominate. On March the 25th, Lindsay met Ichihashi near Gyotoku Station. He approached her politely, asking for private English lessons, a request that Lindsay, professional and kind, did not refuse. They agreed to meet again that day for a lesson at a nearby cafe. CCTV footage captured their calm demeanor as they left the cafe together. From the outside, it appeared innocent, a teacher and a student meeting for an extra lesson. But Lindsay's decision to enter Ichihashi's apartment, reportedly to help with English conversation, sealed her fate. Cultural expectations in Japan emphasize politeness and not refusing requests, especially from clients or students. Lindsay's trusting and respectful nature likely played a role in this fatal decision. Lindsay did not return home that evening. Concerned, her roommates alerted the British Embassy and local police. Police arrived at Ichihashi's apartment the next day. When officers knocked, Ichihashi answered but immediately fled barefoot, evading capture despite multiple officers outside. Inside, police found a horrifying scene. Lindsay's naked, lifeless body was discovered in a bathtub on the apartment balcony. She was partially buried under a mixture of sand and compost soil. The autopsy revealed severe bruising, ligature marks from plastic cords binding her hand, and evidence of strangulation. Signs of sexual assault were also found. Neighbors were stunned. The quiet suburban street had never witnessed such brutality. Ichihashi's escape triggered a nationwide manhunt that lasted more than 2 years. Police faced heavy criticism for letting him slip away, and the public's frustration grew. Ichihashi proved cunning. He altered his appearance drastically, self-inflicting wounds, cutting off moles, and later undergoing multiple plastic surgeries to avoid recognition. He lived under false identities, moving frequently and working odd jobs, construction, cleaning, internet cafes, all while constantly looking over his shoulder. Despite widespread media coverage, public wanted posters and appeals from Lindsay's family. Ichihashi evaded capture, slipping through cracks in the system. Lindsay's parents, Bill and Julia Hawker, faced unimaginable grief. Yet, they channeled their pain into a relentless campaign for justice. They made multiple trips to Japan, holding press conferences, appealing to authorities, and raising global awareness. Bill Hawker famously said, "We were just a normal family. This shouldn't have happened to us, and it shouldn't happen to anyone." Their advocacy helped keep the case in public attention, pressuring police to intensify the search and implement reforms. After 2 years and 7 months on the run, Ichihashi was finally recognized by a staff member at a cosmetic surgery clinic in Nagoya. He was arrested at a ferry terminal in Osaka as he attempted to flee to Okinawa. At arrest, Ichihashi carried a backpack filled with survival tools, a wig, and cash. He initially denied his identity but soon confessed to the murder. The Hawkers received the news with mixed emotions, relief that justice was near, but sorrow for their lost daughter. Ichihashi's trial began in 2011. He admitted killing Lindsay but claimed it was unplanned, a spontaneous act during an argument. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence of premeditation, the brutal violence, the binding, the burial attempt. In July 2011, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, a sentence that some felt was the only justice possible for such a horrific crime. In 2011, Ichihashi published a book titled Until I Was Caught, detailing his fugitive life. The memoir sold widely in Japan, sparking outrage in both Japan and the UK. For Lindsay's family, it was a painful insult, profiting from tragedy and re-traumatizing them. The book fueled debates about criminal rights, media ethics, and victim dignity. The case shattered Japan's image as a safe society. It sparked a national conversation about stalking, harassment, and violence against women. Lindsay's story became a symbol of the need for vigilance and systemic change. Lindsay's family established scholarships and memorials honoring her life. Friends and colleagues remember Lindsay not for her tragic end, but for the warmth and joy she brought. Her story reminds us all of the preciousness of life and the importance of safety, kindness, and justice. Lindsay Hawker's story is a tragic reminder of how quickly dreams can be shattered. If Lindsay's story touched you, please subscribe, like, and share.